What if charisma was not some inborn trait, something you were born with or without, something that you had or didn't, but was instead something that you could develop by focusing on a very distinct small set of skills? Well, that's actually the premise of this book, The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. And it's something that I want to share with you today. Now, the one big idea that I took away from this book is actually a really simple formula. What is charisma? Well, charisma, by the definition of this book, is power plus presence plus warmth. And I want to break down what each of those three things mean in the context of charisma. So you probably know that when somebody walks into a room and they exude charisma, they just seem to get what they want. They attract people's attention. They carry authority. They're able to ask for things and get them. And we're talking whether you're at a restaurant, whether you are in a business situation, whether you're in a business meeting, if you're on the phone with somebody who's charismatic, you can just feel it. It's this feeling, and it makes people naturally drawn to you, attracted to you. It makes you a natural leader, even if you are not trying to force people to do things. If you are very charismatic in a situation, people will tend to turn to you as the leader. And, frankly, I do consider myself somewhat charismatic, and I think that it's been a big part of what's allowed me to get into the opportunities that I have throughout my career. And the good news is that you can very intentionally develop a lot of the same core fundamental skills that are required. So power plus presence plus warmth. Well, let's start with power. What is power? Power is not force. Power is not just forcing your way on things. It's not the ability to force people to do things that they don't want to do. Power is your level of comfort in a situation. You are powerful in a situation where you are most comfortable. Now, for example, if we get in these videos and I feel very comfortable with the topic and it's something that I've thought about, I've discussed, I've read about, I've learned about, I've applied, well, it's very easy for me to exude power around these topics because it's a skill that I'm very comfortable with. But the other thing about power is you can have a sense of personal power by being comfortable in yourself. So if I walk into a situation and I don't know anything about a topic, the willingness to admit that I don't know anything about the topic and being open to learning from those around me actually is a huge power move, like in terms of like this non-force power. And so power does not necessarily come from being a know-it-all or being like the boss in a situation or whatever, although knowing things and being in charge in a situation does carry some sense of power. But power comes from mostly being incredibly comfortable in yourself. And the more that you're able to develop that, both through developing yourself, developing your skills, developing your abilities, developing your knowledge, but also developing your willingness to be okay, like admitting that you don't know everything and that you can turn to other people in this situation, that you have the power to turn to other people in this situation to get their input. All of that contributes to power. So the next item is presence. So power plus presence plus warmth is charisma. Presence. What is presence? Presence is this ability to talk to somebody and engage with them and stay engaged with them and to be able to be an active listener and to not let the dialogue or monologue going on in your head, your monkey brain, completely take over the situation, right? So if you are in a situation with somebody and you are not able to focus because your mind is elsewhere, your mind is wandering, your mind is thinking about something else, you are not being present. And so you will have less charisma. If you are in a situation where you are caught up in your own internal monologue or dialogue, judging them in the situation, deciding what you are going to say next instead of listening to what they're actually saying, trying to force your initiative, trying to force your agenda on the conversation, you don't have presence. Presence is the ability to kind of shut all of that down, shut down your inner thoughts and just be, at least momentarily, completely outside of yourself and in what the other person is saying, fully experiencing the other person, fully connecting with them, and just being open to where the situation takes you, right? And so that ability to be present is actually something that is cultivated through meditation, through mindfulness. Even the simple practice of sitting down for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes every morning and paying attention to your breath and saying, like, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, I'm paying attention to my breath, I'm paying attention to my breath, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and just paying attention to your breath. Now, there's all sorts of methods you can learn to meditate more, to practice mindful awareness. You can practice mindful eating. You can practice mindful walking. You can practice mindful anything. But the whole idea is being able to be present with what's going on in this moment, right? And notice any situation, any sensations that come up, notice any thoughts that come up, and simply notice, like, oh, that's a thought. And separate yourself from that thought, from being like completely carried away by whatever random thoughts go through your mind, but instead recognize, okay, that's a thought, and not trying to get rid of it and not trying to hold on to it, just letting it come and letting it go. Like, that's how you develop presence. And it really does help you think better, and it helps you show up better in situations wherever you might want the feeling of charisma. So we have power plus presence plus warmth equals charisma. So how do you develop warmth? How do you develop the warmth that makes you a charismatic person? Well, primarily this comes from trying to take other people's perspectives, trying to understand their feelings, trying to understand their suffering, trying to understand their joy, and like not just understanding it, but trying to feel it from their perspective. And really there are practices for cultivating compassion. And so one of them that is taught in Buddhism is basically imagining love, and imagining love targeting first yourself, imagining like this enlightened awareness of love that is targeting you and that is completely filling you up and surrounding you with love. And then imagining that this bubble of love growing beyond your physical body, growing out into the world, growing out to maybe your household, anybody that's in your household, growing out and having it wrap around somebody who maybe frustrates you sometimes, growing out and having it wrap around somebody who you respect, growing out and having it wrap around your community, growing out and having it wrap around your country, growing out and having it wrap around the world, having it wrap around the entire universe, and filling up the universe with love. And really trying to feel like, to truly desire for the goodness, the happiness, the health of everybody, regardless. And it might feel like a silly practice when you do it the first few times, but when you practice it enough, what ends up happening, and there are brain changes that happen actually as a result of all of this, the presence and warmth exercises especially. What ends up happening is you carry that awareness, that loving awareness, through to even this conversation. So as I'm recording a video for you to put online, I'm actually thinking about you and thinking about how I want you to live a joyful life, how I want you to become more charismatic because of all of the positive impacts it can have on you. And that caring comes through to in this video and how I show up. And that caring comes through, like, all of this also applies, like if you're doing a webinar, because this is because I'm supposed to be talking about marketing, right? And charisma is very much a selling and marketing skill. The charisma that you have will carry through wherever you are putting your message out, whatever media you're putting your message into. So you're recording a video and putting it online, you're recording a webinar or delivering a webinar live, or you are writing a sales letter, or you're writing an email. Well, these things, like truly going through, okay, what power do I have in this situation? Not what force or what authority or all of that, but what like true personal power do I have in the situation? what presence can I bring to this? Like, how can I try to be in the moment as much as possible in this, and like recognizing, like bringing anybody else involved in the message into the moment as well. What warmth can I bring through for where I'm truly wishing for the good of the recipient of my message, the good of whoever I'm in conversation with, and the good of all of the entire universe. Like, how can I bring these qualities into every situation? And the great thing is, like, all of this can be applied from where you're at. You can be more, you can develop your personal power more, even if it's just accepting that you don't know what you don't know, and like not being as afraid of not knowing. That immensely increases your personal power in a situation. Or your presence, like really just, even if right before you start a conversation or right before you sit down to write something or whatever, just like taking a deep breath, letting it out and saying, okay, I'm going to be present with this. You will become more present with that. And in that conversation, like, even if it's before you're going to walk into a room or before you're going to pick up a phone, you just take a deep breath to like become present with the breath, to become present in the moment, to become present with the situation. And the warmth, like even as you're taking that deep breath, you can imagine that love like growing in your heart, growing, filling your body, surrounding you, filling the world around you, filling everything. And you can bring that presence and the warmth to the situation. And that alone will actually also increase your personal power in this situation. But all of this adds up to charisma. And it's like when you deal with somebody who has incredible charisma, if you reflect on these things, like what power are they bringing to the situation? Like where is their personal power? How much control do they have over their personal power? How much have they cultivated the different aspects of personal power? How present are they? How warm are they being? And what you'll find actually is that some people are like super warm and they feel extra charismatic because they're super warm. Some people are super present, and so they feel extra charismatic because they're super present. Some people are super powerful, and so they feel extra charismatic because of that power. Whereas some of the other areas, they might feel a little deficient, but it's like a total picture where all of these three things, these three things are working together and building up your total charisma. So again, the book is The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. I actually ended up, you can get it in paperback or print, ebook as well. I ended up going through the audiobook. That's a great way to go through it as well. There's a lot of good exercises built in, as well as this overview that really is based on this one fundamental equation. Power plus presence plus warmth allows anyone to master the art and science of personal magnetism. So it's a great book. I hope that you get a lot of value out of it, and I hope that you got a lot of value out of this video. If you do feel like you like this video, make sure that you do click the like button. Make sure that you share it with other people who might get a lot of value out of it. If you have, let's say, leaders in your life, people who are maybe salespeople who work with you, other communicators who would benefit from intentionally working on their charisma as well, don't send it to them as an insult. That's not very warm, but send it to them as a, hey, I thought this video was good. I felt like it helped me, and maybe it would help you. So like the video, you can share it. Make sure that you follow me here, and you can comment also. Like, how have you used some of these principles to grow your own personal charisma, or what might you do in the next few days to really just do a check on how you could become more charismatic in your conversations, in your communications, in whatever area you're showing up in your life. Now, I'm on a mission to help more entrepreneurs and other high achievers lead a happier, healthier, more impactful and prosperous life through effective marketing, communication, and business building skills. And I would love to have you join me. You can join me here by subscribing. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com. This is a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And if you'd like to get my Monday through Friday emails with articles and essays on copywriting, marketing, business building, selling, personal development, and more, you can get those there, as well as you'll get links to these video issues when they are are released. So with that, I'm Roy Furr. This has again been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, and I look forward to seeing you again in your next video. Bye.